All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, week 14 is in the books, and that means that we are 1 week into playoffs, and we are officially down to 4 people who have a shot at taking the loser's punishment for this year. And I think with that, it has caused some questions from me around how much people still care about the league. And I've been disappointed in some of the lack of chat engagement from various people, even throughout the year, but specifically recently, lots of people who weren't kind of active in the trade market and things like that. But I realized upon reflection that it is not fair for me to be the one to judge how much you truly care about the league. So I have had to do some research and want to call this out early. I want to thank Ellen, our assistant to the commish, for helping a lot on this project and really kind of bringing it home in terms of the research department. So full shout out there, and let's get started. As we always do, bottom of the list, number 12. John, you're back at the bottom, buddy. You were ranked a -1 out of 10 in terms of how much you care about the league. But don't just take my word for it.
Hey fellas, as John's roommate, Mark asked me to weigh in on some of these questions regarding John's participation in the Fantasy Football League. In one word, describe John's relationship with fantasy football. I'm going to use more than one word, but I'm going to say it's about the same as his relationship in the dating pool. Scale of 1 to 10, how obsessed would I say that John is with fantasy football? Well, again, I'm probably going to go a -1 because I think the only time I've seen John watch football this season is when I turned on the game, and I don't watch football.
There you go. You've heard it directly from John's roommate. An implied non-existent level of caring, a -1. Moving along to number 11, we have Rory. Rory was rated
on a scale of 0 doesn't care and 10 obsessed. How much does your husband care about the league?
Rory cares about the league a 1. He is having a hard time finding time to do it this week.
In one word, describe your husband's relationship with fantasy football.
Turbulent.
Turbulent. That's fair. It's been a roller coaster of a season for Rory thus far, including but not limited to a big win against John this past week on the upswing. Let's see how far he can make it ride, and see if he can keep his way out of the loser bowl this year. Moving along, we have to talk about Nathan. Nathan is either a 15 or a 1, but don't take my word for it.
On a scale of 0 doesn't care and 10 obsessed, how much does your husband care about the league?
Pre-playoffs, 15. In playoffs, 1.
Nathan, I love that you were at a 15. I love that you were making trades, and I could tell that you truly cared. But it's really disappointing to hear you drop off that drastically, given your playoff situation. And just want a little more consistency there. But I will go back to Madeline for some more information about your level of care.
In one word, describe your husband's relationship with fantasy football.
Too much. Oh, that's 2 words.
Seems as though it was too much before the playoffs, and now that you are where you are, it's you're down to the 1, and that's what leaves you in the spot that you're in on this ranking. Moving along.
Hello, fantasy footballers. I'm sorry I have to whisper, but Leighton is sick and sleeping, and the dog is sleeping too. So if you hear snoring, that's the dog. Anyways, I have to answer 2 questions. In one word, describe your husband's relationship with fantasy emotional. Yeah, he takes it pretty seriously. And gets really pumped when things go well and really sad when they don't. On a scale of 1 to 10, how obsessed is he? I would say maybe like a 7 or an 8. As much as he's emotionally invested, I feel like he does move on from it eventually. So I'll give him that. So 7 or an 8. Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate you you making that video happen, even with a sick Leighton and a sick puppy. And Leighton, 7 or 8. Hey, we took a big jump up from the ones and the negative ones of the league here. Moving along to a true number 8. We have Ryan. Gabby will explain more.
So the one word I would use to describe Ryan's relationship with fantasy football is committed. He definitely is always checking his phone and smiling at his phone. And when I ask what he's smiling at, he usually says the fantasy football chat. So he's very committed to all the videos you guys send and checking the points and who's winning and what are his chances of winning. So yeah, he's definitely committed. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say that he is probably an 8 in terms of how much he loves the league. I will say it doesn't take away too much from like our time together or anything, so I can't really complain, but he's definitely very into it. So anyway, I'm glad he has fun doing it.
Well, we're glad that he has fun too, Gabby. Love to have Ryan in the league. Great engager in the chat, and yeah, sitting there at an 8 out of 10. Moving along, we have Colin. Colin's an 8.5 according to Mr. John Charleston there, and this is a quote from John. I'll read it here for you, but one word is zealous. Captures the enthusiastic, active, and sometimes excessive devotion Colin has for his fantasy football team. Thank you for that great quote, John, and thank you, Colin, for being zealous about your fantasy football team. And hey, in the semifinals this week, so we'll see what happens from there. 8.5, just barely losing out on the next spot. We have another Charleston with an 8.7, but as I've done before, this is for Harper to explain.
If I had to describe Pierce's relationship with fantasy football, I would say dedicated. I think he's playing the long game here. I really do. I think get a few picks for next year. This one might be a throwaway, but next few years, got it in the bag. And if I had to rank it 1 to 10, I'd say it's like an 8.7. I think it's up there with, the most important things that happened to him this year for sure. So
you heard it there first. Pierce is locking it in for the next couple years. I'm thrilled that Harper knows that. I'm thrilled she knows that he's been stockpiling picks, and that she knows exactly where fantasy football falls in the list of priorities for Pierce. So, attaboy with the 8.7, and for keeping Harper engaged as well. Moving along, we have our friend Ross, and Peyton provided this quote in terms of kind of his relationship. It's a professional relationship, and apparently Ross is a genius, the Paul Di Podesta of fantasy football. Her words, not mine, probably no one else's either, but he does come in ranked as a 10 out of 10, which is good. That's interesting. Lack of chat engagement on Ross's end. Hasn't had to make many trades due to the nature of him dominating the regular season. But I'm glad to know he still cares, and big matchup coming up this next week between him and I. Speaking of me, I also came in at a 10 out of 10, and here is some thoughts from Ellen about that.
Mark is a true 10 out of 10 obsessed. When I ask him how his day was, he tells me how his team is doing. And one word to describe Mark's relationship with the league, I would have to say affair. He's texting all the time. He leaves the room to watch strange videos. and he's completely absorbed with someone named Puka.
It's true. I am. And 36 points out of Puka from last week was fantastic. And big fan of that. I gave myself the tiebreaker over Ross just based on Peyton trying to kind of, just really hype him up. And I felt like I needed to drop him down a peg. So, yeah, I'll be honest. That's what broke the tie between me and Ross, puts me in fourth place here with another tie we have, but this tiebreaker went to our man, Chris Tilsley.
Well, if I was to describe my husband Chris's relationship with fantasy football in one word to start, it would definitely be it's an intimate relationship. He's texting about it in the middle of the night. He's spending lots of his energy and thoughts thinking about it. And I would definitely give it a 10 out of 10 in terms of how much he cares about it. Because again, it takes up dinner time, bedtime, Sundays. Yeah, he really, really loves fantasy football.
Well, it was a pretty tough act for Chris. 10 out of 10, obviously. But I want to be perfectly clear. Rebecca followed that video up, and here is her disclaimer, just so that no one rags on Chris too much.
Okay, I feel like I also need to give him some credit because he is an excellent dad.
Oh, that's sweet. You love to hear stuff like that. An excellent dad, not as excellent of a fantasy football player this year, but I love to see that he still cares. Okay, moving on to what is the silver medal position. We have our commish.
0 is, on a scale of 0, does not care at all, and 10 is obsessed. How much does your husband care about the league?
11.
An 11, the commish. You love to see that. You want commissioners who are fully engaged in the league.
One word describe Matt's relationship with fantasy football.
Top priority.
Another great way to describe how much our commissioner cares. Could not have picked a better guy for the job for this, and just grateful for his loyalty to the league and his devotion to it. But that devotion only got him the silver medal position because, believe it or not, there is someone in our league who, according to their wife, cares more than an 11 out of 10. And that man, believe it or not, is Dave. Here's Julia for more.
Julia, on a scale of 0 doesn't care and 10 obsessed, how much does your husband care about the league?
I would say 15 out of 10. He's obsessed. This is taking over our family life. He's never home at night. He's always doing football. Going out for lunch with coworkers, football. He's giving real cash to these people for tips. It's taking over.
It's taking over. Dave, when you were over at my house for this year's draft, I would have never guessed that come week 14, you would be a 15 out of 10 in terms of how much you care. I absolutely love to see it. I couldn't help but smile during that video. It feels like you've come such a long way.
One word describe your husband's relationship with fantasy football.
Unhealthy. Obsessive.
No. Dave, I love it. I love it. Thank you for everyone who helped contribute to this video this week. Had a lot of fun pulling it together, and love to see what level the members of the league are infiltrating their personal lives with more fantasy football. Anyway, I know it's a long one today. I'm sure most of the wives and girlfriends have stopped watching by this point. But anyway, thank you so much, and have a great week. Enjoy Thursday Night Football tonight. Cheers.